Hi students, welcome to our class. By the way, I'm Teacher Pam and I will be your Science 8 teacher for today. And for our lesson for today, we will be discussing earthquakes and faults. With the learning competency, differentiate the epicenter of an earthquake from its focus and intensity of an earthquake from its magnitude. An earthquake is a trembling and shaking movement of the ground due to a sudden release of stored energy in the earth crust that creates seismic waves. An earthquake is one of the most frightening things that anyone can ever imagine and experience. Strong earthquakes can cause countless deaths all over the world. No one can stop earthquakes from happening, but there are things that people can do to avoid or reduce loss of life and damage to property. But before we proceed to our discussion, let's answer first the following questions. Good job, students! You answered all correct. Now class, let's have an activity. For your activity number 1, it's all about focus and epicenter. Our objective is to differentiate epicenter from its focus. Since you're done with your activity 1, let's proceed to your activity number 2. Our activity number 2 is all about magnitude and intensity. Our objective is to differentiate intensity and magnitude and to determine how earthquake affect the surrounding. And if you're done with your activity, let's go back to our discussion. Where do earthquakes start? So we have here focus. Focus is also known as hypocenter. It is the place where the first break happens, where the fault begins to slip, where first movement takes place. It is called the origin of the earthquake or the starting point of the earthquake. We have also the epicenter. The epicenter is the position on the surface of the earth directly above where the earthquake starts. So now you know the difference between the focus and epicenter. An earthquake may be described into 2 ways. We have the intensity and magnitude. The intensity of an earthquake gives us an idea on how strong or weak the shaking is. Intensity measures the strength of shaking produced by the earthquake at a certain location. It is determined from effects on people, human structures, and the natural environment. The severity of an earthquake shaking is assessed using a descriptive scale, the modified Mercalli. The Philippines Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or the PHIVOLCS, used the following scale to describe the intensity of earthquakes in the Philippines. The Mercalli scale bases its measurement on the observed effects on the earthquake and describes its intensity. On the other hand, we have also the Richter scale. It measures the seismic waves on the energy released.
The intensity of an earthquake is determined by observing the effects of the earthquake in the places. Houses, buildings, and other structures are inspected. People are interviewed about what they saw, how they fell, or what they did. Another way of describing the strength of an earthquake is magnitude. Magnitude is quantitative measure of the size of an earthquake at its source. It measures the energy released at the source of the earthquake. Magnitude is determined from measurements on seismographs. Seismograph is an instrument that measures and records details of an earthquake. To distinguish the two, intensity is expressed using Roman numerals, while magnitude uses Hindu-Arabic numerals.
Before we proceed to your next activity, remember,